What's up, fam? It's your girl, Sphynx Nicole. Today I want to talk about dealing with heartbreak. I've dealt with heartbreak plenty of times. I hope to be able to kind of help you find your process on how you get back to a healthy, happy heart instead of feeling so broken. Like, things to consider whenever I go through heartbreak. Through heartbreak, you're really going to understand the value of having a working, loving, healthy relationship versus the future you could have with somebody that's actually on your level. In some way or another, one partner has leveled up, or maybe one partner hasn't realized they're about to level up. You really gain so much wisdom through heartbreak, so don't be afraid of it. Here are my top 5 things to consider whenever you are dealing with heartbreak. Number 1 thing to do whenever you are going through a heartbreak is to let it out. Do not hold in your pain, so that you have time to just really release the anger or the sadness or the fear about your situation. Then just as important to deal or be aware and feel your emotions as it is to breathe. Especially during heartbreak, this is not the time for you to bottle things up. You need to just give yourself time to be angry. Personally, I became really angry after the past 2 breakups I have had, and I've never been in a relationship. I'm 25 years old, and so these are just really long flings I was having with these guys, and you know, they were good for the time being, but like at that time whenever I was with them, I hadn't leveled up in myself to realize, oh wait, I want something more serious than just a fling, you know. And so the lessons that I learned, especially with this last breakup I've went through, I was having serious outbursts, just like being angry. And at the time I was an Uber driver, and so like it was like I was in my car and I had just did my makeup, gotten in my car, it was the morning, and something must have reminded me of that guy, to where I just started sobbing in my car, and I knew it was like out of my control, and that is an outburst to me. I just and I like put my head on my steering wheel, and I was just like, man, like I remember like exclaiming that in my car because I was frustrated with myself at the fact that, oh my gosh, this emotion is just taking such a hold of me. I want to just do my job, I want to just get my money and come back home, but I have so much anger about all the promises that were made with me and that guy and that were broken, and all the things I let slide, and you know, within myself, I devalued myself during that relationship, and I was just angry about it all because I really thought it was going to work out, and it didn't. It just didn't. By the way, like I always feel better after I let that out, you know, let the sadness out, let the anger out, you know, and even with the good times, because you probably wouldn't have stuck around with that person if you didn't have a good time with them at least 30-40% of the time. 90% of the time is probably more healthy, but it should be a lot more happiness in a relationship than there is sadness and heartache. If you're being happy or reminiscing on the good times you had with that person, just realize that they were good and that was it for the time being, you know, like, but you need to move forward. Step 2, after letting it out, I find out a healthier way to release the anger that I have or the sadness that I have. Yeah, you remove yourself from, you know, environmental restraints that are a little awkward if you were to just start sobbing or, you know, start like screaming at the world, you know. Release your anger in a healthy way. I prefer to go and exercise. I'm a personal trainer and I love to exercise. So with me having all that built up energy, I like to exhaust myself because then that way I'm a little bit more clear-minded after my workout, and I can process all of the lessons that had been learned from that loss. And it's hard. It is so hard. It's going to take time for you to view how you're channeling those upsets, because heartbreak is sort of like the same. And my therapist told me, like, it's like the same as mourning, like a death. you know, like grief. There are like 5 stages to 7 stages of mourning or grieving somebody. And it's not like the old days where it was like, okay, you gotta go back to work on Monday and like snap out of it. No, like it takes time. So you're really gonna need to figure out what's gonna help you channel your anger into something that just releases that upset. Boxing, my roommate got a boxing bag. It was pretty cool. I didn't get to use it too much during or after that breakup because we just didn't set it up yet, but my therapist also said, like, you know, sometimes whenever you box, it can make you angrier, and if you feel that's happening, don't do it. So another thing that I did was pretty cathartic for me. I wrote letters. I call it Oprah style, where you write a letter and you don't actually send it to the person. I hand wrote it so that I could then burn it. I burned it, and it was almost like releasing, you know, just the thoughts that I had about the whole situation, and I just prayed that that person felt my vibe, and that was it. Not that I wished harm on him, but I more so was like, I didn't mean to hurt you, you know, or I didn't mean for this to happen. I wish that you were more honest with me, yada yada. Those things, all on a piece of paper, you write as much as you need to, but you're gonna have to take the extra step for yourself to figure a more positive way of releasing the upsets that you are experiencing during this heartbreak. The third point that I do, I make sure to find someone to talk to that is gonna bring you up, like not make you feel like shit about something. If you are obviously wrong in the situation, your friend's gonna tell you, yeah man, you were wrong, here's how we're gonna make it better. What do you want to do to make it better? Is this something you want to do again? Like, you want to talk to somebody that's gonna help you figure out like the lessons that can be learned from your situation. Say you don't have anybody in your circle, your personal friends, or you have a family member that you can talk to, there are online chats. There's an app called Whisper you can get on. You can post something anonymously and people can talk to you that way. You're smart, you know, use your judgment, what's good advice and what's bad advice, and just make sure that you talk about it. I don't believe that such pain, especially if you truly love that person and you guys didn't work out, should be kept to yourself. That's just not healthy. I know I'm a more of an open book, and with people who are a little more reserved or a lot more reserved, they do deal with things on their own. Eventually, I still believe you should speak to somebody about it just to make sure your head's screwed on right, and that you can pursue another relationship whenever you truly feel healthy enough to do so in your mind, body, and spirit, because it's all about you after this. This person is now that broke your heart. Is you guys need to move forward. You need to move forward so that you can grow. This is what this process is about. You have gained knowledge. You're gonna wise up from this, and you're gonna be 10 times better for the next person who's gonna appreciate you more, because they've probably went through just as much heartbreak as you have, or you can at least appreciate them and maybe, you know, not give them as much damage as what you've experienced and stuff. Like, this is not about just dealing with it, handling it on your own. Like, you're actually, I think, more strong whenever you do talk to somebody else about it, because you get to, you know, form your stance on your situation with almost like a devil's advocate in the way. You know, you're really just going to be exercising your brain during this major change in yourself. So I highly, highly recommend talking to somebody that gets you. You know, even getting a therapist. This past breakup I went through, I went and got a therapist because I really was like, well, I want to have a serious relationship, and I just don't know how to do that. How do I do that? You know, I picked up some books. I asked questions from people who had seemingly successful relationships, like, so what do you do whenever it comes to money? Like, or what do you guys do for fun whenever you don't necessarily have the means to do so? You know, like, what are some alternatives? How do you guys communicate? You know, like, you just ask questions, like, educate yourself. You know, like, something didn't work in your past relationship, but you want to make the next one better. So just talk to somebody about it. You cannot do that by yourself. You know, and honestly, even just watching YouTube, just as long as you're not just all in your head, because you're just gonna end up eating yourself alive, I think, in a sense, and really kind of holding yourself back from what really God has in store for you. And if you're not religious, what you have in store for yourself. So for this next one, this is where you really realize like what was working in your past relationship and what wasn't working in your past relationship, and what did you not agree with whenever it came to you and this person being together. How did this person support you? How did they not support you? What is a deal breaker in the future from now on? And it may not be a huge list. Maybe it's just one thing. Maybe it's just two things, no matter how long you guys were together, or, you know, spending time with each other. For me, I realized, you know, like I said, I've never been in a relationship. Somebody that actually wanted to be with me. They just wanted to just be with me for certain things, if you catch my drift. They never really wanted to talk to me. They only wanted to talk to me whenever they wanted something. And so now, whenever I'm going for something more serious, my deal breaker is if this person doesn't seem like they want to talk to me at any moment, I probably will just excuse myself and move on to another person. Especially, it's like speaking with your mom, or like speaking with like a best friend. Like, you know, this person's gonna talk to you within like, oh, well, he's working, he's gonna get back to me at least by tomorrow. And that's like your dynamic. You shouldn't have to worry about someone being so in and out of your life, especially if they don't want to commit to you. So deal breaker for anything for me is like communication has got to be on fleek. And I learned that the hard way. You would think that would be like, well, if this person like blocks you out of nowhere, which I've been in some situations about that, and then they block you, unblock you, and they just want to see you, and then they block you. Like, you would think that you would walk away, but sometimes you're just caught up in the moment, you're naive, and you just make the same mistake over and over again until you finally get it. Jerry Seinfeld actually has a really good quote on pain. He says that pain is actually like a lot of information at one time, and it's like you go into overload. So it's almost like stubbing your toe. You didn't know that that object was there where you were gonna like stub your toe and stuff, so it hurt. That was a lot of information at one time. You're just gonna have to siphon through your heartbreak, and those are the things you want to kind of look back on. You know, don't feel ashamed about reminiscing about the good times you had with this person, because you did. That's okay. But also realize that the value that you have in store for the next person and that you have for yourself is way more important than going through, you know, a relationship with someone who doesn't really value the effort that you put into it as well. Just really pat yourself on the back for the fact that you're trying to be healthy, and you're trying to do the best you can for your future relationships and for really yourself. Relationships are all about learning. Just remember that. And the very last thing I will say is that to make a positive challenge for yourself, and I work on myself pretty damn hard, so I love to have fun. I don't like to just sit in my bed and be sad or, you know, have outbursts. I don't like to do that. Whenever I feel it right, I will like tell myself, okay, well, I want to go like play some pool, you know, like I want to do something that makes me happy. Like, oh, I'm going to take a night to myself and I'm like game on like my favorite consoles, you know, like, or you like call a friend, you're like, hey, can we have a movie night? Like, just kind of get out of your head, process yourself. You need to realize what could be done better in the future, and know that you are stronger already for trying, and, you know, keep living life. You know, you gotta keep living life, and that's what life's about. You know, life's not supposed to be comfortable. You will find your love, especially if you're proactive. I'll leave you with the fact that, you know, everyone goes through this. Everyone learns, and don't be ashamed of anything. Don't second guess yourself. Everything happens for a reason. Go eat some ice cream. You'll be okay. Now, you guys, love yourself. Peace.